All right, so I did another video on what I think is the problem with Jeff right now, and I think we got some good discussion out of it. So I wanted to do another thing here on another kind of hot topic that seems to be what people are talking about right now, which is role queues. Sorry, I'm a little sick, or I'm just coming off some sickness, so I haven't actually played this game for like 4 days or so. So still trying to get back in the swing of things, but yeah, I wanted to give myself some time to play a little bit more, specifically ranked, and kind of see how things played out with that. But yeah, not a pro player. I just want to kind of open up some healthy discussion. Again, I feel like we had some good conversations with the Jeff stuff, and while I still think there's issues with his ult, my ideas with how that should happen or how that should change have kind of evolved since then, but that's completely different anyway. So I haven't played a ton of Overwatch. I'm not really actually a team shooter kind of guy, aside from something like Rainbow Six Siege. I'm not a big fan of having to rely on this many people in a game where you can't really solo and kind of carry by yourself necessarily, or it's a lot harder. Again, Siege is a little bit different. So with Siege, there's roles, like you've got your anchors and your roamers, but it's not quite as strict as something like this. You can play most characters in most roles. You can have certain roamers that'll anchor or certain anchors that'll roam, with some restrictions. Like you're probably not going to anchor with somebody like Cav, or you're not going to roam with somebody like Mira. You can, but it's probably not what you're going to do. So again, with Siege, it's a bit more loose. So I'm a little bit more used to the loose gameplay, where while the operators are important in Siege, they're not quite as important in their roles, right? You can kind of do everything with everybody. So to start, NetEase has said that they have no interest, or they're not considering a role queue. So that's the official stance as of right now. I guess they were talking to Esports, and Chen said that the studio is not considering a role queue at the moment. The team's goal is to offer a wider variety of team compositions through team-up skills and their own designs, to let people play their Marvel superheroes rather than limiting players by choosing a role. And then he further explained that data from the matches shows that Rivals currently doesn't need a role queue system. We want people to have a Marvel experience where they're free to select what they want. Since the beta test earlier this year, things have been rational and within expectations. In our competitive play recently, there's a lot of different compositions emerging from players, and we'd like to continue monitoring these fun compositions and how they impact our game. So, I mean, it's fair. The game is still pretty new, in the sense that it's not Overwatch. It's a new game, but this type of game's kind of been around for a bit. But I'm kind of willing to see where it goes right now. Speaking of Overwatch, another thing I read from somebody named Poitheon, I think it was on the Blizzard forums. I don't know how factual this is. I tried to look up data for it and I couldn't really see anything. But a lot of people have said that the role queue killed Overwatch. This person says, I've seen quite a few people claim that role queue killed the game, but 80% of player base quit during open queue before role queue was added, from over 50 million to under 10 million. So again, I don't know where they're getting these stats. I tried to look things up, but apparently Overwatch was dying during open queue and not with the addition of role queue. So died quite a bit before the role queue was added. That's a pretty big drop if those numbers are accurate. 50 million down to 10. You're losing 40 million in your player base because of open queue. And I can kind of understand that. it's one of the reasons I don't really play Overwatch, or never really did play Overwatch. Queuing into a game, having everybody insta-lock DPS, and then you don't have the roles you need, and it's just super frustrating. Even coming into this game, playing it, I went in as a strategist main because I figured that'd be one of the hardest roles to fill. So if I'm taking up one of those spots, you only need one more, might not be as bad. But even still, I have had instances where I'm the only healer, and I had somebody today, which is kind of why I'm doing this video today. I had somebody today try and give me shit and say my heals were shit when 4 of them were DPS, 1 was a tank, and I was the only healer. And this guy went 1-6 on Black Panther. Surprise, surprise. But yeah. Continuing on here. Comparatively, even with content not being added for nearly 3 years at this point, player base was mostly stabilized under role queue. Role queue did not kill the game. Role queue saved the game for millions of players. It was beyond frustrating, having selfish players dictate the team's chances to win by picking whatever they want, regardless of what the team needed to win. Now, if you're not somebody that gives a shit about winning, probably doesn't really matter to you. If you can have fun and lose, well, that's the way to do it. I personally enjoy winning. I don't like losing. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a sore loser. Like, I'll try and learn from my losses and stuff like that. I know losses are part of it. I know I'm not going to win every single game I play, but I absolutely have more fun when I'm winning. And even more so when I'm actually getting teammates that communicate, and we have proper roles and compositions and stuff like that. It's obviously much more frustrating when you're struggling to get people to play certain roles. You're lacking a certain role. Nobody wants to switch to it. It's frustrating. So I definitely understand the kind of pros and cons of having a role queue. So again, originally coming into this as a solo queue strategist main, it was very frustrating, and I don't necessarily think it's needed in quick play, because that's supposed to be the quick, fun kind of gameplay. It's kind of whatever. It's not that serious, even though, again, I still want to win. So I did come in, and I was kind of in favor of a role queue, but for ranked, and not even necessarily a strict 2-2-2 role queue. But even something like a soft role queue where you're kind of guaranteed to have one Vanguard player and then like 2 strategist players, I think would be nice. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but in general, I'm not like super for or against it at the moment. I'm kind of sitting in the middle right now and just kind of seeing where things go. It does feel, since playing ranked, it's a little bit easier to get teammates, but it's not always. So I got little pros and cons. There's actually not a ton of pros. Hold on, I got a cough again. Oh man, I can't wait till I'm not sick anymore. But in terms of pros, like if you go for some sort of role queue, you're kind of guaranteed a proper composition. Like let's say you go 2-2-2, you're guaranteed that everybody locked in to those roles wants to play those roles, right? Thought I could survive talking more than I could. All right, we're over it. We're through it. But yeah, if you do something like 2-2-2, you're guaranteed to have those roles, right? That's really the positive. That's the one big kind of standout positive of having a role queue system. Nobody's going to be fighting over roles. Nobody is going to be yelling at one person to switch to the other role because we need that. Everybody's locked in. Personally, I think doing one strategist is like, that's like my least favorite. If I have 2 2 healers, I don't care what the rest is, really. The rest I'm open to. As long as we have 2 healers, I'm happy. Somebody to heal me, I can heal them. We can heal the team and kind of keep everybody alive. But then obviously there's the cons, right? Obviously there's going to not really be any diversity. So you just do 2-2-2. That's it. That's all. It's always going to be 2-2-2. And because of that, you lose out some of that adaptability as well. So if you go into a game and you're 2-2-2 and you see, okay, maybe we need another healer. Well, now you go maybe 2 tanks, a DPS, and 3 healers, or a tank, 2 DPS and 3 healers, whatever, just to get a bit more of that healing. Like I play Mantis quite a bit, and I feel like she does decent DPS too. So if you do go with a 3 healer role, having her in there, she's kind of a little bit of both, so it kind of works. But then there's obviously comps too. I guess it's called the GOAT comp or something from Overwatch. The 3 vanguards and 3 strategists, so you're super tanky, hard to kill. That's been viable too. So again, there's a lot of different viabilities. Again, a 1-3-2, a 1-2-3, again the 3-3. So there's all kinds of stuff there too. And then obviously there's not going to be role swapping unless obviously they would implement that with a role queue. The fact that you could swap with another person, right? If they queue up as Vanguard, you queue up as Duelist, and they want to play Duelist and you want to play Vanguard. Unless they added something in for that, nobody could switch. If you're playing and somebody's not doing great on DPS and they're like, hey, I can switch to tank, and I've seen that a lot. I can switch to tank if you want to take over DPS or healer or whatever. You lose that variability and the ability to adapt to situations, right? And one of the things I think is kind of important is that if you have a role queue, people don't have to learn other things. Somebody can purely be DPS and they'll never be pushed to learn and try out other roles and learn other roles. Personally, right now, I'm trying to have at least 3 heroes from each role to feel comfortable with. And I do think I have at least 3 in each that I'm happy to play, that I'm comfortable playing, and that gives me something different for different scenarios, right? So I think not having a role queue eliminates that. Eliminates the kind of experimentation of a lot of players. They'll kind of just get stuck in their comfort zone, right? So again, in terms of an actual role queue, I think something simple. I haven't fully thought it out here, but looking at the thing here, maybe have like a little box. I wouldn't know how to UI design it. I'm not a UI designer, but just have like a little box off the side here, and you can click like Vanguard, or you can click Strategist, or both, whatever, and you get queued up as that, as your priority. And once you get into the game, that's your role. It'll say, kind of like League of Legends, it'll be like, you've been selected as a Vanguard or Strategist or whatever. And then if you don't click any of those boxes, you can just queue up normally. You're not forced into that actual role queue, but queuing in without it, you know you're probably going to get somebody that wants to play Strategist, or at least 2 people that want to play Strategist, and somebody that wants to play a Vanguard. But then you can also select those as well. So I just think it would help kind of give people the comfort of knowing they're going to go in and they're going to get at least a couple healers and a tank, which I think would be nice. Again, I'm not like saying this should be done or anything like that. Just a little thought there. Just something I feel would help. If they decided to go for some sort of role queue, I feel like being a little bit more flexible would kind of still keep that spirit of being able to play what you want a little more free for people. So yeah, again, I was mentioning League. That's really my only experience with like role queues, which obviously it works great there. But But I also think the roles in League are a lot more distinct and a lot more experience based. Like, I don't play jungle. I've never played jungle. I don't want to play jungle. It's sort of my style, but not really. I like the ambushing and stuff like that, but I don't want to run through the jungle going to camp. I know they've made it a lot easier. And they kind of give you paths to take now, so that's kind of nice. But there's not anything really like that here in Marvel Rivals, where you need that like extra experience, right? There, you're not in a very strict kind of specific role. You can be a DPS tank, you can be a dive tank, you can be a dive DPS. There's so much variety in terms of what you're playing that I don't think you really need to restrict the roles that much in this. But yeah, again, in the end, I'm willing to kind of see where it goes, give it the meta time to sort out, see if there's any broken things that come up or whatever. But so far from what I've seen, it hasn't been too bad. You get those occasional things, or again, today I had the 4 DPS and a Vanguard, and these DPS were all doing horribly, and all of them refused to switch. Eventually, I think one did. I don't remember if we won that game or not. Probably not. But like, these guys were telling each other to switch. I was like, listen, you all suck. If you're going to complain about healing, one of you switch. You're all doing terrible as DPS. One of you needs to switch. I don't care who. Somebody needs to switch. I'm pretty sure we lost because they all kept refusing. And this one person was complaining about my healing. And I told them to stay out of ranked if you can't play another role to help out the team. You're not ready for ranked. Go over here, click this little button, go down here where it says practice versus the AI, click the 1 star because that's all you're capable of, and click that and just stay there, stay out of rank. Okay, if you're that kind of person. But yeah, don't be those people. If you're going into ranked games, like I kind of sit and wait. I play Mantis mainly, but I'll sit and wait in the lobby with her soft locked in, and just wait to see what we need, right? And I'll switch up when we need to. Funny enough, my first ranked game today, actually that one we were just watching in the background there, that was my first ranked game of the day, and I ended up playing Penny, who I don't really ever play, and I ended up getting MVP. And then my 4th ranked game of the day, I ended up playing Punisher, and that was my rank up game, and I ended up MVPing with Punisher too. So I try and stay flexible, try and learn other heroes. You're gonna make it so much less stressful for yourself if you learn other characters that you can pivot into. And you're just gonna be a better teammate that way. So again, I'd love to hear what other people have to say about the whole role queue system. Again, I started at a very one side of it, and I was pretty in favor of the role queue. But now that I'm kind of seeing the different metas and the different comps and stuff all kind of being viable, I'm a little bit more open to it, to seeing where that goes and how that plays out. But I'm also very curious to see if the community forces NetEase into it, or forces them into it in terms of like coming up with super busted comps that just need to be stopped, you know? Like, I don't know how strong that 3-3 comp is, but I've heard tales. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm very curious to see where people are on that whole topic, but I think it's a good topic to have for the kind of integrity of mainly competitive, right? And just like everybody's stress levels, everybody wants to just play what they want to play, and a role queue kind of helps with that. But we get enough diverse people that are willing to switch up, then it's not really a big deal. For the most part, people have been good. I'm up in, I think I'm plat 1 right now, so I'm in that range. People have been mostly pretty good, but it was brutal in bronze. It was brutal in bronze and silver for sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I'm just going to start rambling. But thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your days, and I'll catch you all next time.